Hello guys, welcome to Got Somme. Me and Angus have been tasting, drinking, interviewing wine people for years. So we went through quite a huge range of wines, but today I prepared him a surprise. I want him to do a little blind tasting and see where it is at with his skill. Two wines are from the old world and one wine is from the new world. One wine we actually tasted in a podcast. It's very, very difficult, obviously, but I was just going to see whether he can remember that specific winery. It was indeed one of his favorites. And then two other wines that are from the old world, perhaps a little bit more difficult to access. Let's see how he's going to score. So one of the wines, or the first wine, is Carzello. So this is a Langhe Nebbiolo. This one is from Piemonte, naturally, 2022. So a generic appellation in Piemonte. And Nebbiolo itself is a very, very interesting grape variety. Perhaps one of my favorite red grapes, because there's so much character, so much personality, so much intensity to it, even at the entry level, with always this kind of sour sherry, a lot of raspberry and cranberry, but really tart and sour. You rarely find a lot of ripeness and sweet plush fruit. With Nebbiolo, is really about that tartness, high acidity, high tannin, really crisp. And then, of course, with a little bit of age, they become better and better. So you get to start getting a little bit more tertiary, like leather and charcuterie and kind of meaty, almost like a blood sense to these wines. They are very, very age-worthy. You can age Barolos for a huge, huge, huge amount of time. Why? Because of, yes, natural acidity. The alcohol levels tends to be high, and of course the tannin levels. So those are preservatives that will allow for the wine to age for a very, very long time. Let's see how Angus will do with this one.
Okay. Aha! I smelt the wines before I saw them. Quite a smell coming after.
Really? As soon as you sat down?
Okay, so I have 3 glasses of red wine in front of me, 3 very different immediate characteristics between them. Of course, 3 different pieces of glassware as well, which might help define that. I mean, you've already explained to the audience what I should be guessing from a master sommelier's point of view, but what would you like me to guess? Like, should I have a shot at the vintage, the grape variety?
Well, vintage is way more difficult. You got to really, really, really know your vintages very well in order to guess the vintage. But I mean, varietal, country.
That's pretty good.
And then
I'd be pretty happy with that.
And then you can ever go a vintage.
I'll have a shot at vintage, for sure. Starting with what looks like to be the lightest red.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, bright red fruits.
Mm-hmm.
Some strawberries on the edge. I don't have a white piece of paper, but I do see a little bit of aging on it. I'm just going to nose them all. Ooh, okay. I know I can tell you what I think that smells like.
Okay.
Which is Barolo and Nebbiolo.
Okay.
And this one smells like a
Why
Shiraz.
you say Barolo, Nebbiolo? I mean, Barolo, Nebbiolo is Nebbiolo.
Sorry, Nebbiolo grape.
Yeah.
Barolo being the area of Italy.
Yeah, very good.
Yep. It smells like Nebbiolo because it's got that. I don't know how I would to explain it. It's not VA at all, but it's like this.
Yeah.
Really interesting, like characteristic that I get every time I do Nebbiolo.
Yeah, and what's the characteristic? You
kind of clay-ish.
Very good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I start here?
That's an answer. Yeah, perfect.
Well, I'm on it.
Because you're doing well so far. So that's
okay. Well, it looks like an aged wine on the edge, which of course Nebbiolo can give off that kind of characteristic. You can have a bright, fresh 2022 Nebbiolo that looks like a 1998 because it has that clay brick.
Yeah, that's right. Orange that's right.
Edge.
Yeah, that's a giveaway from Nebbiolo, which is that orangey brick color, which very, very always has really.
It's still no dark fruits, a lot of all red fruits, a little bit of like light cherries, strawberries.
And you said strawberries as well on this first one here on this side on the right. If you were to compare the different types of strawberry, whether it's ripeness, whether it's
great call.
Yeah. So
this one at the moment is ripe. So the one that I'm having the second glass, which I think is Nebbiolo off the nose assessment, I would say is like really ripe.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Bang. Tannin and acid straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Which does lead me to continue my story of telling Nebbiolo.
Yeah.
Acid is huge.
Yes.
Like high acid.
How do you describe acid in this wine when you have a sip?
My salivating mouth.
Mouth watering, like super.
Yeah, and
super
still
fresh.
going. Also, a long finish. So I would say this is a really nice Nebbiolo. Plus, it just tastes beautiful. I think I had a Moretti Nebbiolo about a week and a half ago, which is an first season of Got Somme wine, less than $30.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I remember that one.
A really solid wine. I think it sells for like $20, but this is just so much more of a refined version of that. So I'd say this is, a very nice version if I'm on the right track for Nebbiolo.
Okay. And alcohol, typically...
Acid is so forward. Like, I feel like I could spray little bits out of my mouth. It's
because acid
high acid, yeah. But alcohol, typically Nebbiolo is a higher alcohol, but I'm not getting that huge burning sensation, but I'm getting a bit. So I'm going to say like 13.5 to 14%. So a high alcohol.
Yeah.
Tannins on the front of the mouth as well. It's a lot more front palate than it is back palate for me. I usually get that with Cab Savs and Shirazes, but, I'm an idiot. So I'm going to call this Nebbiolo, which obviously I'm going to call Italy. I don't think it's a late vintage. Otherwise, I've had older Nebbiolos and it's just like everything is just like dramatized. Yeah. This feels really tight. It feels, I wasn't in the room for the bottling of the bottle. I feel like this is just a fresh, like it's excited to come out of the bottle.
That's right. Yeah, it's very good assessment. So that's perfect. Now, just one thing in terms of fruit, do you think is more like a sweet fruit or sour type of fruit?
Sour.
Like, sour. Perfect. Yeah, that's good. That's a great
definitely
word.
Sour, which goes along with that tartness that I'm getting and that acid. When I think about, it's not a lemon, of course, that citrus, which we talk about with white wines and like Riesling. It's not that, but it is the green tip of, when you get a strawberry?
Yeah, green, sour, tart.
It's like half-half. Yeah. It's like the top of it's,
perfect.
Near the stem.
Very good.
Calling Nebbiolo, Italy, I'm going to say 2022.
So next wine is 10 Minutes by Tractor, McCutcheon 2022. So a wine from Mornington Peninsula in Australia. And it is a wine that we've tried in a podcast earlier. Very, very fine, very elegant Pinot Noir. And I picked this wine because I wanted to have him thinking whether this could be an old world or a new world wine. Pinot Noir, New World, Mornington Peninsula, very, very cold wine region, which actually gives quite fine wines, but very plushy at the same time. So this particular one, plenty of ripeness in the fruit, so that sweet strawberry, raspberry, that sweet cranberry note, almost a little pomegranate, which brings a little bit of acidity to the wine as well. So just incredibly elegant, very silky, very fine tannin, moderate level of alcohol, and a wine that you can age for a very, very long time as well. Those wines just keep improving year on year. I'll just be very, very interested to see whether he's going for an old world or new world, just because this is a really, really good example of a new world wine, and from Australia, obviously.
I'm going to go back to our first glass, which is straight from the nose. I'm calling a Pinot. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm calling it Pinot is I'm getting so much luscious strawberry fruit, huge punching in me in the mouth fragrance. Mm-hmm. It actually smells like a Central Otago, New Zealand wine.
That's good.
Yeah, so Pinot straight off the nose for me, super floral, super elegant, like beautiful. It's not like a cheap bottle of wine that you open. I'm getting so much complexity in the glass. I can't see any signs of aging, if a little touch of it. It's a Pinot. It tastes, it could taste like a Tasmanian Pinot. We had that experience down at Devil's Corner and Bichonneau, but I don't think it's that. I do think it's, and I just want to point this out. I don't think I've ever had wines from Napa in my entire life. I've never had California Pinot in my entire life, so I can't call that. When it comes to old world Burgundy stuff, I've never had it.
That's what I was going to bring it to. Could it be Burgundy or somewhere in the New World?
I don't think I've ever had it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a Pinot Noir from Leroy.
Did we?
Yeah. Didn't we?
Oh, we did. Of course.
Yes,
yes,
it was a great Pinot Noir.
That was a great Pinot Noir, 2014.
2014.
Yeah.
Got us a little...
Yeah, that was. I've had one example of Burgundy. I've had a lot of Australian and New World Pinot. So,
and this is more resembling to you of a New World, you would say?
It's not so foreign to me that I'm not. I haven't experienced this wine.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to say New World.
So far, you did amazing. All the approach.
Yeah, Australian or Tasmanian Pinot Noir. I think it's a new bottle. I don't think there's vintage on this either. I'm going to say like 2012 22. Again, I think the same as that.
Yeah.
But yes, calling Pinot, calling Australian or New
Mhm.
Zealand. I'm just going to put us in there together.
Okay.
It's the Russell Crowe of Pinot Noir. We're claiming it if it's New Zealand.
And final wine is Barrel du Blanc. So this is a Saint-Emilion Grand Cru. So we are in Bordeaux, in the right bank of Bordeaux. Typically Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon blend. And I picked this wine because it's much easier to go for straight varietals. Of course, a Cabernet Sauvignon versus a Shiraz or, Nebbiolo. But for the last wine, I wanted a little bit more challenge and just wanted to see whether it can go to the right direction. It's a wine with a little bit more age as well, which complicates things even further. Younger wines are a little bit easier to spot. With age, everything becomes a little bit more similar. So a very, very difficult wine to pick. What you should be getting in the glass, it's a mix of red and black fruits, blackberry, black cherry, a touch of strawberry, a touch of raspberry, more on a savory side. Nothing is really juicy, plummy about this wine. It's more that savory black and red fruits. There is a touch of graphite, which defines Bordeaux very, very often as well. A touch of that pencil shaving, a touch of leather. That's also, of course, coming from the age, 2014. But a very, very fine wine. So, yeah, let's see. Hopefully, he's not going to go for New Worlds to start with, and obviously not the major probably grape that people would confuse, which is Shiraz, or Syrah, which is a little bit different, but could be mistaken.
And finally, glass number 3, which is the most interesting color. Like it's kind of like darker than a normal Shiraz or Cab Sav, in my opinion, which also might lead me to say that it might have some age. I'm going to explore more with my nose. On the assessment, though, just a really dark wine, like super, super dark, very brooding color, actually. It's like it feels moody as a wine. I don't know if it's just been in this glass, but you could also, from the color, like be surprised me with a port or something, but the wine pour is way too big.
No, yeah.
Oh, wow. This is a really unique smell. So it does lead me towards being a Shiraz, just straight off the nose.
Okay.
Dark fruits, so blackberries, blueberries, but more blackberries.
Always try to think the level of ripeness of the fruit. So whether it's like, as you said, really lush and vibrant and juicy, or whether it's the sour side or more savory. On
the nose, this feels really warming and ripe. It feels like it doesn't feel like this is a Syrah or a colder climate version of Shiraz. High alcohol, in the same way that I think the Nebbiolo, glass number 2, wow, acid. Acid's coming through. Not as much as Nebbiolo, but I would say this medium acid, medium plus. It's full-bodied. It's not as tannic as I expected. So I expected this to be really tannic, but it's still there. Like I would say this is medium tannins. Not low tannins at all, but I would say this is medium. There's still some grip on my teeth. I would say it's not Cab Sav. But why am I saying it's not Cab Sav? Why am I sticking to Shiraz? I'm sticking to Shiraz because as much as I've said there's dark fruits in here, it feels like it's not as dark as it could be, heading down that route of oak presence, that kind of green bell pepper feel that you can get sometimes from Cab Sav.
That's very good.
Yeah,
that's very good. Do you feel a little bit of that or not?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, maybe consider it could be a blend.
Oh, that's a great call. Yeah, because it's not Shiraz, like straight out. That's like I remember when we had Brendan in, and he brought in that Syrah, and the Syrah was a Shiraz Viognier blend, and I picked it as a blend. And the reason I did pick it as a blend was because it didn't taste like the Shirazes that I drink. It didn't taste like the Cab Savs that I drink, and so that's when I came down. I think I called it GSM. Grenache Shiraz Mourvedre blend. And yeah, this could be a blend of a couple of things. I think it is Shiraz dominant. I would say like more than 50%. Shiraz, I think it could, just based off its color and its alcohol and its feel, it could have a little bit of Cabernet influence. I wonder if like a Cab Franc or something could be, perceived. I just don't think I'm good enough to be guessing those sort of pieces. I would say a blend makes sense for this wine. I think it's a really nice wine. Like I'm already picking the meal in my head. That's where my imagination has gone for this wine.
What do you go for?
Steak.
Steak, yeah, sure.
Yeah, of
Steak
course,
frites,
lots of
no
salt.
problem.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oof.
Yeah, a Shiraz blend, and the blend is with Cabernet. So Shiraz Cab. I wonder if it could be like Wendouree or something.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think so though.
So you are in a new world?
Yeah, I am in New World. Yeah.
You find it really...
Once again, my experience with
Plushy
old world wines
Yep.
is not enough.
Well, we had a winner on the first season of podcasts, which was a Bordeaux blend.
It was a Bordeaux blend. Yeah, good call. The Homadrak.
Homadrak.
And shout out to Circulus Wines. I went down to the Geelong Wine Show and sat across from the owner, and he listens to the podcast and he loaded up on the Homadrak
That's funny.
for dinner wines, on what which is really cool.
Very funny.
Well, thank you very much to everyone who watches and listens. We appreciate it. I'm going to go for a Shiraz blend. I'm going to call, it could be Old World, but I'm going to have to call it New World. I would say Shiraz dominant. And I think it has a little bit of age. I'm going to say like 2018. Start with the first wine, which I called a 2022 Nebbiolo from Italy.
What's the vintage? What you said?
2022.
Okay, well, that's perfect. So we got a Lange Nebbiolo.
Hey.
32.
No way.
That's very good.
Holy shit. Oh my God. It's literally a Lange Nebbiolo. 2022. No way. Number 2, I called a Australian New Zealand Pinot Noir 2022.
Okay, so go a little. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I want you to go a little bit closer to the to what the wine could be, Australia
Okay.
or New Zealand.
All
Pick
right.
one and region.
Immediately, I want to say New Zealand, but I'm going to lock in New Zealand. I know you don't want me to, but I can't.
Yeah, that's fine. Fair enough.
Oh,
10
the
minutes by
McCutcheon
track.
Pinot Noir.
You got the 22. You got the 22, and you got the Pinot Noir,
2022.
and you got Australia, New Zealand. So that's very
pretty
good. It's scoring very, very high.
10 minutes by tractor, a Mornington Peninsula, Pinot Noir from 2022. I got the vintage as well. And the final one, this one's going to be way off.
So
Oh, you haven't gone for like a South African wine, have you?
no. So we got a Bordeaux blend.
A Bordeaux blend,
Okay.
Saint-Emilion.
So Saint-Emilion, Grand Cru. So yeah, Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon blend.
A Merlot and Cab Sav, yep.
So you still got Alf. You
Okay.
still got the Cabernet
And
Sauvignon.
I think I called 2018, but it's 2014. So I
Little
could
bit
see
more
a little
age,
bit
yeah.
of age, yeah, just on the
That's what I was trying to do, is bring you something with a little bit more age, and obviously a blend. Every time it comes to blends, becomes a little bit more difficult, but also the age, everything becomes a little bit closer and closer. So with what the wines could be, but you did very, very well. That's very impressive.
Thank you, sir.
Honestly, really,
Well,
really good.
I'm learning from the master.
You pick the age, you like 18, still a little bit more age than obviously 22, 23, 24.
Yeah.
So you notice that there was age, obviously it's a little bit more, 14. I mean, it's very, very difficult. Very, very impressive.
We've done reds here. Maybe next year we should do whites.
Absolutely.
If you have a suggestion for what white wines you would like to see a master sommelier, like a varietal, make sure you send us a DM at Got Somme on Instagram, or write a comment on YouTube. And your suggestions can make it through to the podcast as well. In the meantime, The Apprentice has impressed the master to a degree. Obviously, a lot of learning to go. Obviously, I need to try a lot more old world wines. I got quite lucky in Nebbiolo being, the king of wines, in my opinion. Obviously, well, that's what the famous saying, Barolo being king of wines, I think.
For red wines, for sure.
Yeah, one of my favorites, for sure. So I'm lucky that I've had a bit of Nebbiolo, but yeah, you could have really rocked my socks off, and got a little bit of layup there. And
You did very well.
10 minutes by tractor, that was one of my favorite experiences. Shout out to Martin Spedding as well. We'll see you on the next episode of Got Somme. Leave your comments. We appreciate it.